Hello, I'm Gianmarco Contino. Inside every single one of us, there's this incredible, highly trained army. It's our immune system, and it's on patrol 24/7 defending us. For decades, scientists have been chasing this one huge question. What if we could actually command that army to fight one of our deadliest enemies, cancer? Well, today, we're going to break down how that's not just a question anymore, it's becoming a reality. All right, so let's get into it. Here's our battle plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the big idea, the revolutionary concept behind all of this. Then we'll dive into three core strategies: releasing the brakes on our immune cells, literally engineering them into super soldiers, and then creating personalized vaccines. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the real-world challenges and what's next on the horizon. So, where did this all begin? You might think this is all brand new, cutting-edge stuff from the last few years, but our story actually starts over a century ago. In this first section, we're going to look at the long road we took to get here, and we'll meet the real hero of our story, the T cell. Yeah, you might think immunotherapy is a recent breakthrough, but the idea has actually been simmering for over a century. Get this, back in the 1890s, a surgeon named William Coley noticed something weird. Tumors were shrinking in patients who got nasty skin infections. So he tried to copy that effect by injecting bacterial extracts, what he called Coley's toxins, to just fire up the immune system. The basic idea was there, but it really took another 100 years of scientific progress before we could truly weaponize it, leading to that first FDA approval in 2011, and finally, a Nobel Prize in 2018. Okay, so at the absolute heart of this story is our protagonist, the T lymphocyte, or as we'll call it, the T cell. I want you to think of it as the special forces of your immune system. This isn't just a blunt instrument, it's a precision-guided killer. It's trained to hunt down and destroy very, very specific targets. And that ability to kill on command is exactly what makes it so powerful and so central to this whole story. So that brings us to the big conflict, right? If our T cells are such elite soldiers, why don't they just wipe out cancer as soon as it appears? Well, the problem is that cancer is incredibly devious. See, it starts from our own cells, which makes it a master of disguise. It learns how to not just hide from the immune system, but to actively sabotage it, effectively disarming our best defenders right on the battlefield. Okay, so if cancer is busy disarming our soldiers, our first strategy is actually pretty simple. We rearm them. This isn't about creating some new weapon from scratch. It's about disabling the enemy's sabotage. It's all about how we release the brakes that cancer has slammed on our T cells. To really get cancer's trick, you first have to know that your immune system has its own safety features built right in. Think of them as brakes. They're there to stop your T cells from going totally rogue and attacking your own healthy tissue. It's a vital self-preservation thing. But cancer hijacks this system. It figures out how to press those brake pedals itself, essentially telling the T cell, hey, nothing to see here, just stand down, right at the exact moment it should be launching an attack. And these safety mechanisms, these biological brakes, they're called immune checkpoints. They're basically proteins on the surface of T cells that act as off switches. The two most famous ones, the ones that won that Nobel Prize, are called CTLA4 and PD1. They're absolutely crucial for preventing autoimmune disease, but they also create this perfect loophole that cancer just loves to exploit. So how do we fight back? This is where the elegant genius of checkpoint inhibitors comes in. The drug itself, an antibody, doesn't actually attack the cancer cell at all. Instead, it acts like a shield. It physically gets in the way and blocks that PD1 brake pedal on the T cell. That means the tumor's stop signal can't connect. The brake line is cut. And just like that, the T cell is reactivated and unleashed to go do its job. Okay, so releasing the brakes is one thing, but what if the army you already have just isn't properly equipped for the fight? Well, our next strategy is something straight out of science fiction. We literally take a patient's own T cells out of their body, re-engineer them in a lab to become super soldiers, and then put them right back in. This whole process is called CAR T cell therapy. So what happens is they start by drawing your blood and pulling out your T cells. Then, in the lab, they use a harmless virus to insert a new gene. This gene tells the T cell how to build a synthetic receptor, the chimeric antigen receptor, or CAR. And this CAR is basically a custom-built homing missile designed to lock onto a specific target on cancer cells. They grow millions and millions of these upgraded cells and then infuse this living drug back into the patient. And impact? Well, it can be absolutely incredible. For certain blood cancers, this approach has been a total game changer. I mean, in a landmark trial for a type of leukemia, a staggering 83% of patients, these are people who had exhausted all other options, went into complete remission. It's just an amazing testament to the power of this kind of personalized living medicine. All right, so we've unleashed soldiers and we've built super soldiers. Our third approach is different again. This one is all about intelligence and training. It's about creating a highly specific, wanted poster for a patient's unique tumor and then showing it to their immune system so it knows exactly what to hunt for. The key to this whole training exercise is a concept called neoantigens. It sounds complicated, but it's not. As cancer cells mutate and grow, they start producing these weird abnormal proteins that don't exist anywhere else in your body. Those are neoantigens. They're like unique flags that only the tumor cells fly, and that makes them the perfect targets because you can train a T cell to recognize them, and it will only attack the cancer, leaving all your healthy cells completely alone. The process itself is just a marvel of personalization. First, they take a biopsy of the tumor and a sample of healthy tissue. They sequence the DNA from both, and then they compare them to find the mutations that are totally unique to the cancer. Powerful computer algorithms then predict which of these mutations will produce the best neoantigen targets. They manufacture a vaccine that contains those specific targets, inject it, and boom, you've just trained that patient's own T-cell army to hunt down and kill any cell fly those specific flags. It really is the ultimate in personalized medicine. Look, these therapies are nothing short of revolutionary. We have to be clear about that. But they're not perfect, not yet. So now we need to ground ourselves a little bit in the reality of today's challenges and take a look at what the future of this battle really looks like. So here's a really quick, clean summary of what we've covered. We've got 3 distinct strategies, each with its own powerful analogy, right? Checkpoint blockade is all about releasing the brakes on the soldiers you already have. CAR-T is about creating super soldiers, building a whole new squad from the ground up. And cancer vaccines act like a wanted poster to train your existing army to find a brand new target. But, and this is a big but, it's essential to be realistic here. Unleashing the immune system is a bit like taking the governor off an engine. It can be incredibly powerful, but it can also be dangerous. Sometimes it causes severe autoimmune side effects, where the body's defense system just goes into overdrive. Plus, not every patient responds, and some tumors are just much harder to treat. And finally, you can't ignore the cost and sheer complexity of manufacturing these therapies. They are immense hurdles we still need to overcome. But the path forward is actually becoming a lot clearer, and it really seems to be about combination. As the source material here highlights, the future is in using these tools together. This quote points out that if you block 2 different checkpoints, like CTLA-4 and PD-1, you can get a much more powerful effect because they work in complementary ways. We're learning to attack the cancer's defenses from multiple angles all at once. And this really leaves us with a final powerful thought. We started by asking if we could command our body's own army to fight cancer. And the answer, we now know, is a resounding yes. But the future of this war, it won't be won by a single magic bullet. It's going to be won by strategy, by combining all these incredible tools to build a unique, personalized assault for every single patient. The era of personalized warfare against cancer isn't just beginning, it's already here.